Right now, on to the point. An early education program on the chopping block.
The fight is not over, and we do need to continue using our voices and telling our stories.
How California lawmakers are working to save Head Start. In Davis, a survivor takes the stand.
I wasn't even sure that I was being stabbed at the time.
The compelling testimony on day 3 of the Davis stabbings trial. The new legal battle tonight over electric cars. What the state's attorney general is calling on the Trump administration to do. And later, celebrating AANHPI month, we head out to Lodi, where cousins overcame obstacles, building their farms from the ground up.
Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. An early childhood education program called Head Start, which serves tens of thousands of California's most vulnerable kids, is in a fight for its survival. And now a bipartisan group of state lawmakers is asking California's members of Congress to save the program. ABC 10's Becca Hobecker joins us in studio tonight. Becca, we know that Head Start, it really relies on federal funding.
Yeah, it definitely relies on federal funding. A Head Start, a free program serving low-income 0 to 5-year-olds nationwide, is funded by the federal government. It's been around for 60 years, but now that funding is uncertain.
Head Start classrooms are bustling centers of learning and laughter, nutrition and nurturing.
Like an apple.
This is a Head Start classroom in Sacramento. ABC 10 visited earlier this year.
Maurice is making a prediction, which is an educated guess.
For 6 decades now, nationwide, Head Start has been serving America's lowest income kids, ages 0 to 5.
We serve folks, for the most part, living under the federal poverty line.
Melanie Cottrell is executive director of Head Start California.
We served just a little over 80,000 kids last year. We educate kids, yes, but we also provide nutrition services, health services, family support services, and we really are an economic engine for this country.
California receives $1.5 billion annually in federal Head Start funding through the Department of Health and Human Services. But now that's in jeopardy.
Early in April, there was a leaked draft of the president's budget that would have eliminated Head Start. Last Friday, the president's skinny budget was released, and that skinny budget has a list of programs to eliminate, but that list no longer includes Head Start. But we still do not have an actual funding number in the president's budget.
Given the uncertainty, a bipartisan coalition of state lawmakers wrote a letter to California's members of Congress, urging them to continue funding Head Start.
Signed by over 3/4 of the legislature. That is probably the most bipartisan letter and issue that we have worked on in years.
Lawmakers and supporters voiced their concerns in a news conference this week.
I was a Head Start kid, raised in rural California by a single mom who worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on and put food on the table. I know firsthand what Head Start means to families like mine. It was a lifeline.
The program has long been in the crosshairs of the conservative Heritage Foundation, which cites a 2010 and 2012 report from Health and Human Services, showing, among other outcomes, that by 3rd grade, Head Start had little to no impact on cognitive, social, emotional, health, or parenting practices of participants.
The study the Heritage Foundation is looking at does say that by 3rd grade, it looks like Head Start kids no longer have an advantage. And the Heritage Foundation seems to be drawing the conclusion that that means that Head Start doesn't work. I would challenge that and say, think about this. If you're not in Head Start, it takes your kid until 3rd grade to catch up to Head Start kids.
She urges anyone who wants to save Head Start funding to call their members of Congress.
Now, while Head Start does continue to operate here in California, several regional Head Start offices were closed nationwide earlier this year, including one that serves California as part of a broader cut at the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, advocates warn nearly 1,000 Head Start workers here in California have received notification their jobs could be eliminated if federal cuts do happen. Alex.
All right, Becca, thank you. Today, California joined 17 other states in suing the Trump administration, this time over electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So the lawsuit is challenging the president's order to stop the $5 billion program. The lawsuit claims the administration's actions are unlawful and would cost Californians more than $300 million, along with eliminating thousands of jobs and dismantling a critical emerging tech industry.
Taking away these funds will harm California's ability to build the charging infrastructure necessary for making electric vehicles accessible to more consumers. Our ability to continue making meaningful steps to combat climate change, reduce harmful pollution, and support a greener economy.
Governor Gavin Newsom sent out a statement on this, saying in part, quote, President Trump's illegal action withholding funds for electric vehicle infrastructure is yet another Trump gift to China, ceding American innovation and killing thousands of jobs. More concerns tonight over the possible surge in California's gas prices. One analysis suggests drivers could see a drastic increase as refineries announce closures in the state. Phillips 66 refinery in Los Angeles say they plan to close by the end of the year, and the Valero refinery in Benicia announced they will close by April 2026. The announcements first started after the state began requiring refiners to store more gas to try to prevent price spikes. One USC researcher says the estimated average cost of a gallon of gas could jump as much as 75% by the end of 2026. ABC 10 talked with the analyst who wrote about the projections.
We've had a 68% reduction in refineries in the state, so that has always placed stress on the state's supply relative to the amount of population growth and the amount of vehicle growth in the state.
Light in a letter the state assembly's Republican leader sent to the governor. The governor's office responded saying Governor Newsom last month directed the state to redouble efforts to work with refiners to ensure a safe, affordable, and reliable supply of gasoline. And your price points tonight. Interest rates will remain the same for now. The Federal Reserve today kept its key interest rate unchanged, and the Fed keeps its rate at 4.3% for the third straight meeting after cutting it 3 times in a row, at least at the end of the year. Many economists at Wall Street investors still expect the Fed to reduce rates 2 or 3 times this year. Meanwhile, President Trump's sweeping tariffs have created uncertainty for the U.S. economy and the Fed's policies. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was on Capitol Hill today answering questions about trade negotiations.
Which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States. It would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why?
Minister on Foreign Affairs says they are open to dialogue, but says it should be based on equality, respect, and reciprocity. Still ahead on To the Point, a survivor of a brutal stabbing takes the stand. The testimony on day 3 of the trial against Carlos Dominguez.
It was a cooler day today, but much warmer temperatures are just around the corner. We're going to have our first 90-degree days Friday and Saturday forecast after the break.
The Real ID deadline is here, how travelers are navigating the new rules. Well, it was another beautiful spring day in Sacramento, but things are about to heat up. Let's take a live look outside over downtown Sacramento. Well, maybe not yet. Let's go ahead and get over to meteorologist Brendan Minchev. Well, we couldn't see it, but we felt today. It was really nice, but things are warming up, right?
It was a nice day. It's still sunny out there. Sun's not down just yet. But one of the things that I am tracking is a warm up. So we are going to be in weather impact alert conditions for Friday and Saturday. Due to early season heat, we're going to be about 15 degrees above normal for the time of year. So it's a good time to practice heat and water safety. I'm not saying we're going to be in the triple digits. We're not going to be 105, anything like that. But it is the first much above average stretch of weather that we're going to have this season. So it's just kind of a good reminder that we are headed into a warmer time of the year. Today, though, was kind of a pause in between warm stretches. We only made it to 75 in Sacramento today, 75 in Vacaville, 73 Fairfield, 83 Stockton, 82 in Modesto, 79 Marysville, and 83 up in Oroville. Currently 73 in Sacramento, 73 Vacaville, 69 Fairfield, 77 Marysville, 80 in Calusa, 78 in Stockton, 82 in Modesto. But take a look at this. Temperatures running 10 degrees or more below where it was just 20 24 hours ago at this point in parts of the valley right now, including in Sacramento. A little bit of a breeze right now, not much though, but a little bit of that onshore flow helping to cool us off. We'll be in the low 70s at the top of the hour, 64 degrees by 9 o'clock, 58 degrees by 11 o'clock. Maybe a few clouds out there overnight, but it'll be mild and just a few clouds. That's about it. 52 in Sacramento to start Thursday morning, 50 in Fairfield, 53 in Stockton, 55 Modesto, 51 Colusa, 56 Placerville, and near freezing in the high country. Thursday afternoon, though, a warm-up is on the way. 89 Marysville, 91 Colusa, 88 in Sacramento, 88 Stockton, 90 in Modesto, 87 Vacaville, 86 in Fairfield. Look at this, high pressure building in, and it's going to sit overhead for Friday and Saturday, giving us the hottest days of the year so far. If this forecast was happening in June or July, we would not have weather impact alert days for temperatures in the low to mid 90s. But because this is early May, it's about 15 degrees warmer than normal, and the record high temperature for Friday is just 94 degrees. We're going to be 93. That's why we've got that weather impact alert. Sunday, though, for Mother's Day, we're in the 70s and then low 70s to start the work week.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Coming up, travelers arriving at airports today with some new rules. What you need to know if you don't have a real ID quite yet. All eyes are on the chimney at the Vatican, waiting for white smoke as the sacred process begins for selecting a new pope. The Davis stabbings trial continued today with the Stoll stabbing survivor testifying in court. And Kimberly Guillory took the stand for about an hour and a half this afternoon. She was experiencing homelessness back in April of 2023 when she was stabbed. She said that she was visiting a friend and returned to her tent later in the night. She sat down and started looking at her phone. She thought someone came up behind her and at the time thought someone was punching her. She then began starting to feel pain and then started screaming. Thankfully, her friends came to her rescue.
They came running towards me, and that's when they grabbed him and started fighting with him, trying to get a hold of him. I turned around, and Isaac said, "Oh my God, you're bleeding." And then all of a sudden, I felt blood just gush out of my back, the back of me. And that's when it really started to hurt.
In court, Guillory pointed at Carlos Dominguez and said that she recognized him from the day that she was stabbed. Dominguez faces 2 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. 50-year-old David Bro and 20-year-old UC Davis student Kareem Abu Najim were stabbed to death in a killing spree that haunted the city at the time. Across the country today, all eyes were on airports as Real ID enforcement began. And if you're going to be flying somewhere and you don't have a Real ID, you may encounter some more checks and roadblocks. Reporter Lena Howland has everything that you need to know before you go.
TSA agents inside of San Francisco International Airport and at all other U.S. airports will now be checking everyone for Real IDs. Well, almost everyone. Service animals get a pass.
I realized I needed a Real ID when I was making my plane reservations, but I thought they were gonna extend it, right? Like, who does start something on May 7th? Not like the 1st or the end of the month, right?
Janice Corvo is making a cross-country move from Brisbane to Boston with her German Shepherd Oi. And although the deadline for the Real ID has been pushed back continuously for years, she decided she wasn't willing to risk not getting her Real ID in time for her flight, booked on the same day federal enforcement begins.
So I started that process in the end of March. And then once they processed it, I went to the DMV at 7 o'clock in the morning and got my, Real ID.
If you don't have a Real ID, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said you can still use your current ID or driver's license for now.
Folks will come through the line and they will issue their ID and show it. If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line. Have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
If you want to avoid potentially being pulled into a different line for processing, TSA will also accept a U.S. passport, a passport card, or military ID, along with trusted traveler cards like Global Entry, Nexus, Sentry, and Fast, but TSA PreCheck doesn't count.
The communication about Real ID has been for the last couple of years, and I waited for the last minute. So that's on me. Busy. Not exactly exciting to go to the DMV.
Barbara Fox couldn't get her Real ID in time due to a name change, so she's using her passport instead to get to Seattle on Wednesday. She said she was relieved to see SFO's security lines this short on a day like this.
The conclave is now underway at the Vatican. Catholic cardinals are gathering to elect a successor to Pope Francis, who died just last month. The first votes were cast today, and so far there's no new pope. ABC's Patrick Reevell is in Rome with more tonight.
Black smoke over the Sistine Chapel. The sign the first vote of the conclave produced no pope. Rome police confirming at least 30,000 people gathering in St. Peter's Square to watch. This was the moment the conclave began. The great doors of the Sistine Chapel shut.
Sic me Deus adiuvet.
Just before, under Michelangelo's 500-year-old frescoes, each of the 133 cardinals stepped forward to swear an oath of secrecy. The famous Latin phrase, extra omnes. Everybody out. Then the chapel cleared. One of these cardinals will leave the conclave as pope. Before entering, New York's Cardinal Timothy Dolan posting a last message to social media.
And I'm about ready to go into the Domus Santa Marta. So this could be the last time I talk to you in a couple of days. I don't know how long the conclave will be.
In the morning, the cardinals joined a mass in St. Peter's Basilica. Cardinal Ray leading it, saying the Pope is being chosen at a difficult turning point in humanity's history.
Per implorare la sua luce e la sua forza.
This is the most diverse conclave in history. 80% of cardinals appointed by Francis, many more drawn from outside Europe. The world speculating, could it produce the first Asian or African pope? Now the waiting has begun for white smoke.
And it would have been unexpected if they had chosen a pope tonight in the first round of voting. Most conclaves go on for about 2 or 3 days. Next, on To the Point, the legacy of local Punjabi farmers and the sacrifices that they've had to make. Well, it is no secret that this region, especially the San Joaquin County area, is rich in agriculture. But what many people don't realize is just how strong the influence of Punjabi farmers has been. So as we celebrate AANHPI Heritage Month, ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen introduces us to 2 cousins whose family built their farms from the ground up, overcoming a lot of obstacles along the way.
So this task is called suckering.
This vineyard,
University language, those are water sprouts.
has been in Jagmohan Singh's family since 1972.
We're in Lodi. Ever since 1972, our family has had Zinfandel grapes.
This vineyard along Harney Lane in Lodi grows the grapes that eventually end up right here in the Zinfandel at Clinker Brick Winery.
This will mark 20 years of grapes of going to Clinker's Brick.
But none of this would have been possible for Singh if it wasn't for his family and cousin, Joga Mahil.
My grandfather, he started from his house in his village in 1906. He ended up in San Francisco in 1910. And then he settled, close to Stockton and then Yuba City.
After immigrating from India, Mahil says his grandfather came to America with nothing but a dream, to one day own land in California. But during the era of the Chinese Exclusion Act, Mahil says he faced harsh discrimination that made the dream nearly impossible, including laws that prevented him from buying property in his own name. This deed shows his grandfather bought the property under a different name.
When he started buying property in 1941, they were not able to own land in their own name, so they put it on somebody else's name.
Today, Mahil says his orange grove exists because of the sacrifices his grandfather made all those years ago to finally secure land in San Joaquin County. The family also grows almonds and pistachios in Madera.
He knew that this land was land of opportunity, that he wanted to settle and he wanted to bring his family here. He brought my dad in 1949. And then eventually my dad settled here.
This land here in Acampo has been in their family for nearly 40 years, and they're hoping by sharing their story, they can continue to grow their farm within their family and encourage other Punjabi farmers to do the same.
Our community has grown such a amount, and we are in every farming community.
Making it that much sweeter knowing these oranges are on tables across the United States, and grapes from these vines end up in this wine bottle.
To have that pride that your hard work is in that bottle.
In San Joaquin County, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
Thank you so much for watching and for inviting us into your home. And if you have something you think me and the team should be looking into, you already know what to do. Email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And if you missed any story here, don't forget you can always download our free ABC 10 Plus streaming app straight to your TV completely for free anytime, anywhere. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.